Alright, I'm just going to make a short little video on how to install these brackets. This is from a Ventura luggage system, and these are the mounting brackets. They make them for all different kind of bikes. This is going to go on my FJR1300. So, looks pretty easy. We'll find out. Alright, so here's some of the hardware that's going to be used to mount this thing. It's pretty simple, and I'll be showing you where all this stuff goes. Alright, so obviously the first thing you gotta do is take the saddlebags off, and then first fastener you're gonna remove is this one here. Alright, so that came out. Use a 6mm Allen. Take that thing out. It's a nice little fastener. The one that goes in there is not going to be as nice as this one, but it'll work. There's a little bit of Loctite on here from the factory, so when you pull it out you'll feel that resistance, but it'll come right out, no problem. Alright, the next fastener that comes out is that one right there. It's in a recessed area, and it's a 10mm, so you have to pull that out. So this is the fastener that came out of that recess. It's got this little washer on it here. And the instructions don't say to reuse this, but I'm going to reuse it. And it's going to go right there. I'll show you in just a second. So that's how that assembly goes. You've got the bolt, you got a lock washer, a thick washer, this spacer, and then this is the OEM washer that came out. I'm going to reuse that. And this whole thing's going to fit up in there and hold that bracket on. And that's what it's going to look like when I put the other bracket on. Alright, so I got that ready to go. Got a little drop of Loctite on there. Washer. Fits right in there. Alright, so I'm going to torque that down to 28 Newton meters. With my fancy little torque wrench. There we go. Alright, so right there you can see the thread sticking out, because that bolt I just stuck in there is a little bit longer, so this bracket can fit on here. So that's going to go on like that. And then I'm going to put a nut and a washer on there, but I'm only going to put it on finger tight because I want this thing to be able to move up and down while I mount the other end. Alright, so I got that bracket on there with the nut just finger tight. You can see how I did the other one on the other side, like that. And that way I can swing this part up and get it mounted up inside there. Alright, so you can see I got that long bolt going up through there. Got the lock washer, big thick washer, spacer, and then the OEM spacer on top of there. Alright, so those long M6 bolts go up into this little cap right here, and it just threads into that. So there's not a whole lot of it's just not very strong, I don't think, because it's only threading into that. Because before it was only supposed to hold the plastic fender in, and now it's going to be supporting the weight of whatever luggage you put on there. And they didn't give any torque specs, so I just put a little dab of Loctite on there and made it good and tight. So one of the things I'll be doing as soon as I use this stuff, this luggage, I'll be checking that periodically, the tightness of it from underneath, to make sure it doesn't come loose, because that would sure suck ass. Alright, so the only issue I have so far, and it's not a big deal, that bar is about 2mm away from the side case over on the right hand side. On the left hand side it's actually touching a little bit, and it's hard to see, but yeah. Anyways, what I'm going to do right here is where it's touching, and it's not much. You can wiggle the case and move it out and it'll not touch it, but when you let it go it'll settle down and just barely making contact with that. So I'm going to get a piece of rubber hose that's about the same inside diameter as the outside of this, and then cut a piece off and slice it and fit it on here, put a little adhesive on there so it stays there. So that way if it's making contact with the case, it'll be hitting that rubber piece. I'll show it to you when I get done. So one of the things I wanted to point out is way back in the day I had some Ventura luggage on an older Kawasaki Concours, and one of the things that happened to me is that these things here came loose and flew off, and I lost them. I had to get some more. After that, I made sure I tightened them up real tight so they wouldn't come loose when I didn't have the rack on here. So if you look down in there, you can carefully see that little silver spot. Let's see if I can focus in on that, where they've taken something and put a dent in the screw, and that prevents that screw from coming out all the way, which is a good thing because now it won't fly off and you'll lose it. I'm still going to tighten them up anyway, but that's a good thing that they did. I just wanted to point that out. Yeah, so there's my my little piece of rubber that I glued onto that tubing so that my saddlebag won't be rubbing on it. And it wasn't rubbing on it really hard. I mean, it was just barely touching it, but I figured once I put some weight in there, it might push on a little bit more, but it's just a precaution. The other side seemed to be fine. I'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, I got these things on. Everything looks good. I'm looking forward to trying them out. And the one thing I will say, and I knew this going in, you know, they're not very attractive on the bike. I mean, it doesn't look butt ugly, but yeah, it's okay. I think the trade-off is good. I'll be able to carry extra stuff with me when I'm traveling. So there you have it. And as soon as I get my little rack that goes on the back here, that the bags actually fit on, I'll throw them on there and show you guys. Alright, so I got the rack all mounted up here, as you can see. It's nice and solid, looks good, everything fit just right. The only issue, it's a good thing, this thing you can take it off and flip it around so that this is over here. There is a small issue. When you flip that thing around, it gets really close to a couple spots here. I'm talking like just like 5 millimeters away. So that gave me a little bit of pause, but I'm not going to use it that way, so it's not a big deal. And the other thing is, if you do flip this around, this ends up coming up through here, and if you put the bag on it, the bottom of the bag can actually rub on this, and so you'd have to put, what I'd like to do, I like to use painter's tape and then a couple layers of duct tape over the top of that to protect some of my body work when I'm carrying bags or whatever. And that always has worked really well for me. So yeah, let me get the bags on there and I'll show you. So there's one bag. I had these bags from like back in the 90s. They're a different style now. This is a really old style, but they still fit the rack. So I didn't have to get new bags or anything, which was nice. Saved me a lot of money. These are really good bags. I like them. I used them for many years. Lots of road trips. So that's one bag. And that is actually the larger of the two bags. Let me turn this thing around, you can see. So there's the same bag facing the other direction. I still got the rack sticking out the back. And again, like I said, if I was going to run it like that, which I probably will at some point, I can protect the bodywork pretty easily. And if any of you are interested in getting some of these bags, you probably already know that these two bags zip together. So I'm going to go ahead and zip them together and put that on there and show you how that sits on there. It's not a big deal, but it's nice that it can do that. You can't do it while the bags are mounted onto this thing. It's just thing sticks out too far. And so there's a big gap and it's like all weird. So I'm going to take them off, zip them together, and put them back on. So that's with the two bags zipped together. It all fits on there nice, holds a lot of stuff. I'm good to go. I'm looking forward to going on a trip and trying it out. So there you have it. Easy to install, works really well. Alright, I hope you learned something from this video. Wasn't a whole lot to learn, it was pretty straightforward and easy, but now you have an idea of how this particular setup works on the FJR. I saw a bunch of videos with other bikes, but none for the FJR.